Dillian, the body snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sports Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, it's that time of the month again where we need to revisit the heavyweight rankings. And of course, I'll be using BoxRec as it's an unbiased site, allegedly, of course, rather than the sanctioning bodies. In fact, I'll do a sanctioning body one after this one, just to show you the vast difference between a sanctioning body ranking and the BoxRec. As I said, BoxRec should be unbiased. They do it on a point system. I'm going to be doing the top 25 as always. And before we get into the top 25, I'll give some honourable mentions as well. And as we get into some of it, I'll tell you why some people have moved up, moved down, and potentially moving up as well with fights coming up, all that kind of good stuff. So before we get into top 25, number 26 is Lucas Browne. Lucas Browne, of course, he won against Junior Paddy about 2 weeks ago in New Zealand. Junior Paddy's a journeyman, of course. Lucas Browne knocked him the hell out. Arthur Spilka with victory over Marius Whyte not so long ago. He's moved up to number 28. Hughie Fury, of course, last time out lost to Kubrat Pulev at number 29. And again, a couple of honourable mentions. Nathan Gorman, number 31. Of course, he's going to be fighting this weekend against Razvan Kajanu, who Razvan Kajanu was supposed to have fought last weekend against Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois got flu, so he pulled out of that fight. Razvan Kajanu has now been moved onto this card after Nathan Gorman's original opponent, Alex Leopai, pulled out. So all going well for Nathan Gorman. He should be moving on from number 31 upwards and onwards for him. So good luck to him this weekend on the Warrington-Frampton undercard. Marius Whyte, 32. As I said, he moved down a bit because he lost to Arthur Spilka. Another one, Joyce, number 35. Obviously, he had victory over Mr. Hanks, Joe Hanks, on the Wilder Fury undercard recently. So he's in number 35. And another couple of mentions, Tony Jochen, number 42. He's been pretty inactive lately. I'm not too sure what's going on with him. Dave Allen is number 47. And Daniel Dubois, number 48. For reasons which I said to you guys before. Had he fought Razvan Kajanu last weekend and won at the Brentwood Centre, obviously he'd have moved up a little bit. But because he didn't fight, he hasn't moved. And Junior Farr with victory over past weekend, where he blasted through his opponent, quite easy work, is now in the top 50 at number 49. So, into the top 25. Number 25, Thomas Adamek. Of course, he's dropped down last time out, lost to big baby Jaron Miller. Otto Wallin from Sweden. I like Otto Wallin. He's 20-0, 13 knockouts, only 28 years old. But inactivity is playing a part in his rankings. He hasn't fought since early this year. Number 23, Tom Schwartz, again from Germany. Very good fighter, 23-0, 15 knockouts, and only 24 years old. And the last time he fought was in November. But if you guys look at the WBO and I think it's WBA, I believe, he's ranked actually quite highly on them. But on BoxRec, he's number 23. Number 22, Ajit Kabiel. Very, very inactive fighter. He's the European champion, or at least I believe he's still the European champion. He is still undefeated, but again, inactivity since he defeated Derek Chisora over in Monte Carlo well over a year ago now. He's only had one fight since. I don't know whether it's because he's avoided. Potentially he is, but who knows. But he's in number 22. Number 21, Zhulilong Zhang. Now, he's a guy who a lot of people are looking at thinking, are you the real deal or are you not? Because he does have 19 wins, 19 of those by knockout. And he will be fighting in early March over in Australia, I believe. So we'll have to wait and see what happens to him. He's a potential opponent for Anthony Joshua, as Zhulilong Zhang was supposed to be on the Monte Carlo card recently to introduce him to the UK fans. But that fight never came off. Number 20, Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter, since he lost to Alexander Usyk, he's been making some real strides in the heavyweight division. Now he's signed with Matchroom Boxing and, well, all part of the DAZN, that of course. Last time out, he fought in Monte Carlo, where he defeated Alexander Ustinov, and prior to that, Martin Bakole, which a lot of people seen as a real shock. But Michael Hunter, he was actually going to be fighting on this weekend on the Dillian Whyte undercard. But that's going to be a bit of a push. To fight that many people in that short space of time is unreasonable, to say the least. So he's going to take a little bit of time off. Andy Ruiz Jr., number 19. Again, he hasn't been the most active fighter. Last time out was quite a while ago, actually, when he defeated Kevin Kingpin Johnson. I think he's re-signed now with Top Rank. I believe that's what he's done. I haven't spoken to him in quite some time, but I think that he's re-signed with Top Rank, so fully expect him to be on the ESPN, and of course here in the UK on Box Nation. Or going forward, Andy Ruiz Jr. only has that one defeat on his record to Joseph Parker, which was way back when, but he's on a bit of a comeback. Hopefully we get to see him in 2019 a bit more regularly. And Sergei Koosman, a lot of you guys will recognise that name. Yep, he defeated David Price. He has had a fight since and won. Robert Helenius, number 17. He's moved up. Obviously, he defeated Erkan Tepe. Again, a lot of you guys will know Erkan Tepe. He's a guy who knocked out David Price early doors and then got busted for PEDs. But Robert Helenius sparked him out for David Price, so excellent stuff. Filip Hrgović, very young guy. He's only had like a handful of fights. But Hrgović, he's one of these guys that a lot of people are looking on as the real deal. He's only 7-0. He does have a victory over Amir Mansour on there as well. Hence the reason why he's probably quite so high, even though he's only had 7 fights, where there are some other people around who's had a hell of a lot more fights but are ranked way below him. So again, BoxRec use it on not just the fact that you've beaten somebody, but who have you beaten, which is good stuff. Number 15. So this is where we start mixing it with the real big boys, I suppose you could say. But there again, it's debatable by some of the people that's on here. Number 15, Charles Mine. Last time out, he lost to Adam Kownacki about 2-3 months ago. He hasn't had a fight since. A very, very good fight with Adam Kownacki. But either way, he's in at number 15. So he has actually dropped. I think last time out, he was like number 12 or 13, I think he was. Number 14, this is a bit of a head scratcher for me, Marco Huck. Now, Marco Huck is actually a cruiserweight predominantly. He has had a couple of fights at heavyweight, and last time out he beat a guy with 40 wins and 5 losses, I think he was, from Turkey. I forgot the guy's name though. But is he in the heavyweight division to stay now? Who knows? If he's not, then in my opinion, he shouldn't be ranked in the heavyweight section. Number 13, Christian Hammer. Now he won, I think it was it last weekend? I think he won. So he's back in the top 15, and last time I seen him fight, he got dogged by Alexander Povetkin. But anyway, he's in the number 13. Bryant Jennings, number 12. Now he's going to be taking on Oscar Rivas on a top ranked show, and that won't be too far down the road. It's just around the corner. So all going well for Bryant Jennings on his comeback. Obviously, he had back-to-back defeats to Vladimir Klitschko and then Luis Ortiz. Went AWOL for a long, long time. Now he's on a bit of a comeback, and a victory over Oscar Rivas, who is an undefeated fighter, by the way, would do his rankings the world of good. But that's going to be a very good fight, by the way. Number 11, Derek Chisora. Obviously, he can be fighting Dillian Whyte this weekend at the O2 Arena on Sky Sports Box Office. For me, I would imagine Dillian Whyte's going to win. Heavyweight boxing, you never know. But of course, I'm rooting for Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte's my guy. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. So we may well see Derek Chisora drop out of the top 15 should he lose, or depending on how he loses, I suppose. If he goes to points, maybe he may only drop a ranking or two. If he gets sparked out, drop a whole lot more. But ultimately, if he beats Dillian Whyte, he's going to be propelled right up to the into the top 10, isn't he? Now we're into the top 10. Joseph Parker, victory over Alexander Flores this past weekend in New Zealand. Obviously, Parker's had back-to-back defeats. Obviously losing his WBO World Heavyweight title to Anthony Joshua on points, and then losing to Dillian Whyte in a fantastic fight where both fighters got dropped in that fight, but Dillian Whyte ultimately won on points. And victory this past weekend in New Zealand over Alexander Flores. Excellent stuff. So now he is back in the top 10. And he didn't just beat Alexander Flores, he pummeled him and hit him in the goolies quite a few times. Anyway, he is now in the top 10. Hopefully going forward, we may see him against, hopefully, a Lucas Browne or something like that. That's just my opinion. Ultimately, he's going to be looking at the winner of Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora. But we'll have to wait and see. Adam Kownacki at number 9. Now, he's going to be taking on Gerald Washington, and I believe it's going to be on the Keith Thurman and Lopez undercard at the tail end of January. So, for me, Adam Kownacki, Polish-American, undefeated, best friends with Big Baby Jarrell Miller. I like Kownacki. As I said last time out, victory over Charles Martin. Prior to that, against Arthur Spilka. Oh, I only forgot his name for a second there. So anyway, he's in at number 9, and victory over Gerald Washington may move him up a place or 2. Kubrat Pulev makes his return to the rankings of BoxRec after a long time inactive. He's now he's now signed forms with Top Rank. Again, I'm going on memory. I believe that's what I've seen once, that he's just recently signed with Top Rank. And last time out, victory over Hughie Fury in Bulgaria, in Sofia, and now he's the IBF mandatory for Anthony Joshua. Kubrat Pulev has always been there or thereabouts on all the rankings for pretty much his entire career. He's a very good, underrated fighter, but inactivity cost him a lot of rankings. But now with victory over Hughie Fury, he's back in at the top 10 at number 8. Luis Ortiz, number 7. When he lost to Deontay Wilder a little while ago, he's had a couple of fights back. Razvan Kajanu, he stopped in 2 rounds. And last time out against Travis Kaufman, where it nearly went the distance. It was a 10-rounder, and he finally put a nail in Travis Kaufman in the final round after knocking him down a couple of times in that fight. Very one-sided fight, to be fair. In my opinion, I think that Luis Ortiz needs to learn how to cut the damn ring off. And I say that because he used to do it a lot, but lately he just doesn't seem to be doing it. But either way, he's in at number 7. And ultimately, who knows? There is talk about him going to be fighting Joyce next. That would be an interesting one. Personally, I'd love to see him fight Joseph Parker. And there is rumours that Luis Ortiz could be joining up with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing as well, re-signing with them. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Dillian Whyte, number 6. As I said, this weekend against Derek Chisora in their rematch. Should Dillian Whyte be victorious, I would imagine, because he's only 11 points behind number 5. Victory over Derek Chisora should move him into number 5 position. Who knows, maybe number 4, depending on how he does it and exactly how BoxRec do the point system. Not entirely sure. But Dillian Whyte this weekend, all going well. He beats Derek Chisora and moves up a little bit more. Number 5, big baby Jarrell Miller. He's been fighting some decent level opposition. For his level is what I mean. For his stage of his career will probably be the best way to put it. He's beaten Johan Dubois. When it took Deontay Wilder 34, 35 fights to fight him, big baby Jarrell Miller did it early doors, defeated him. He defeated Marius Wack as well, and he defeated Thomas Adamek recently, and of course in Kansas a couple of weeks back there on the Matchroom show, he defeated Bogdan Dinu. And there is rumours that he could be on the Demetrius Andrade versus Arthur Akovov undercard as well, which I believe is going to be at the Madison Square Garden Theatre. So be interested to see who it is Jarrell Miller fights. There is talk that he could well be fighting Trevor Bryan, which would be a decent one. Or I'm not entirely sure what's happening with Manuel Charr with the whole WBA regular world title. Has he been stripped since he's been found with PEDs or whatever? Don't know. Potentially Miller, he could end up fighting Frezequendo, one of the most inactive fighters in world boxing right now. But he is the mandatory for the WBA regular title, Frezequendo. So maybe Miller can fight him. Have to wait and see. Number 4, Alexander Povetkin. Last time out, of course, he lost to Anthony Joshua. But to be fair, with the resume that he has, with all the top names on his resume as well, that's why he's keeping his position. So one loss didn't affect him too much. But ultimately, he hasn't had a fight since Anthony Joshua, and there's rumours that he could well be fighting on the Anthony Joshua undercard on April 13th at Wembley Stadium. Against who? No idea. It's up in the air right now. Maybe the winner of Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte. That would be an interesting one for sure. If, of course, Dillian Whyte doesn't get Anthony Joshua penciled in for April 13th. So that would be a good one. Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte. Be very, very interesting, that one. Povetkin versus Luis Ortiz. That's a fight that I think most people in heavyweight, or most heavyweight fans would love to see. Really love to see. Number 3, Tyson Fury. He should be the WBC heavyweight champion. I think that's well recognised. He did defeat Deontay Wilder, but Wilder got gifted a draw decision. Very unfair, in my opinion, and especially as Tyson Fury, after everything that he's gone through with the depression, the drugs, the anxiety, the drink, the obesity, and mental health and the British Boxing Board of Control and UCAD and all this kind of like a situation kept him inactive for 2.5 to 3 years. So now he's back. He took on 2 journeymen and then got in there with Wilder and did what not many people thought he could do, which was just do him in. He did get dropped twice in that fight, of course, which ultimately paid the cost for him to draw that fight, but it should have been a win, even with 2 knockdowns. People know how scoring works, right? But anyway, he's in at number 3. Number 2, Wilder, as I just said, he's still the WBC heavyweight champion, but he got gifted a draw, and because he's champion, he keeps his number 2 position. Anthony Joshua in at number 1. Well, I say in, stays at number 1. The unified WBA, Super WBA at that, IBF, WBO and IBO World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, he's chasing a fight for undisputed against Deontay Wilder. Wilder doesn't seem too interested for whatever reason. So who knows what's going to happen. He will be out again April 13th, as we've said. So these are the rankings. You drop your thoughts below about it. Click that thumbs up and, of course, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.